I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. And this is This Week
in Cruton.
We're getting a lot better. It's Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete, joining us every Wednesday here on Texas Football Today. Follow him on Twitter at GPower79. Follow Next Level Athlete, our valued recruiting partners at Next Level D1. Per usual, a lot to get to.
Always.
Let's start with our Recruit of the Week. Our Recruit of the Week, a Baylor commit. Going to the middle of the defense, linebacker Will Garner out of Klein, a 2020 outside linebacker, 6'3", 190. Starting to get a little bit of interest, but Baylor really he first offer he jumped on it.
Definitely, and they actually offered him early on, and I think he's a real upside prospect for Baylor. They do a really good job recruiting these linebackers, edge defenders who have the speed and the ability to play in space. I kind of caught on to that last year as they were going through their 2018 recruiting class. 2019. Sorry, all mixed up, man. All these classes flying around. 2019 recruiting class, they started to establish themselves with these speedy edge guys, these speedy linebackers, and he kind of continues to fit into that mold. 6'3", 190 pounds. Spent some time playing with his hand on the ground. Also is a force off of the edge. He has a good length. And one thing that I know that our Next Level Athlete scouts noted about him was that this off-season was integral for what level he would probably play at. So it looks like he's passed that test and had been working hard since the end of the season.
Yeah, kind of not a tweener. That's the wrong way to put it, but kind of a hybrid. Is a guy who can do a little bit of everything. We've already seen on these highlights that we're looking at. We've already seen him drop into coverage. We've already seen him rush the passer from a stand-up position. We've also seen him with his hand in the dirt, too.
Right, and he does a little bit of all of that. And what position fits him best going forward, I think, is that hybrid defensive end outside linebacker role where he can continue to do some of the same stuff that he's been doing at Klein on the next level. He's going to need to get bigger to play with his hand on the dirt, and he's going to need to get quicker to be a true outside linebacker. So continued development in those areas is going to be key for Will Garner as he transitions into the next level. Of course, he still has one full year of high school football to play and part of 2 off seasons before he even gets into the college program. That's one thing to keep in mind as we talk about commits now that the page has already turned to 2020.
Yeah, exactly. He's still got a ton of time to go, but Klein outside linebacker Will Garner, our recruit of the week. Let's get to our commit of the week. We're talking down to Houston, Houston guy staying local. Tomball Memorial offensive and defensive lineman Braden Nutter commits to Rice. The Owls pick him up. This guy, size is not an issue. 6'3", 290. This is a big boy.
And another guy, we talked about Will Garner being able to do multiple things on the edge as a defensive prospect. Braden Nutter could probably play defensive line or offensive line as he transitions to college. I actually kind of have been enamored with him lately as a potential offensive center into college. So it'll be interesting to see what position he winds up at. But another guy that's really been working hard in the offseason to continue to become a recruitable prospect. And also what you'll notice about him is his academics sets him apart. He's got some big-time Ivy League offers to go with an offer from Rice, which is one of the tougher academic schools to get into, if not the toughest here in the state, especially at the FBS level. So he set himself apart in that area as well.
This is a guy who started 8 games as a sophomore on the defensive line as well. So a guy who's got a number of games under his belt for a young program down there in Tomball Memorial. But, it's funny. You don't see necessarily at the 6A level guys who are on both sides of the ball as far as offensive and defensive line, but this is a guy that you feel like could fit in either place.
It's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
I think you're asking a guy that's 290 pounds to play at that level and play consistently on both sides of the ball. It's probably just too much to ask, but I think this is a big pickup for the Owls because you saw offers from schools like Colorado and Houston on his list. That's a big win.
Absolutely, it's a big win, especially when you look at it. His offer list. I mean, even you're talking about it when you talk about a guy who's obviously got his academics on straight and he's getting. I mean, this is a guy who had an offer from Yale. This is a guy who had an offer from Dartmouth and a few other Cornell.
Right.
When you're talking about those guys, it's funny because with Rice, you're not just obviously competing with the kids with the teams in the state. You're not just competing with Texas and Texas A&M theoretically for recruits. You're also competing with guys who want to go and for these other academic schools. You have to stand out there too. So that's kind of an important get for them as well.
Rice is off to a pretty decent start in the class of 2020. So I mean, I think they're a little bit ahead of where they were in the class of 2019. They've got a couple of good commitments. Actually, this is the second one in about 4 weeks that we've made the commitment of the week or the recruit of the week. So they're doing well on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, Mike Bloomgren doing a little bit of work. It's Greg Powers, a next level athlete, joining us here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. All right, let's get into our prospect on the rise. Lamar Consolidated running back Tay McWilliams. This is a dude who a name we've kind of known for a little bit, and he's got. People are starting to if you didn't know him by now, you're going to start knowing him because the offers are starting to roll in for him. Tulsa, Baylor, Tech, Houston. This was a guy who was a stud at the opening in Houston, and I know at the next level athlete combine, you guys were awful impressed with him.
Well, look how quick he is at his size. I mean, that is a massive dude. You see him dwarfing the coach right there in this drill as he goes over the bags. He runs really well. He moves really well. And he's only going to get bigger, but he clocked a 4.48 40-yard dash at 6'1", 202 pounds. That's moving.
That is moving.
There's no reason. I mean, there's no way that a guy like that can stay off college's radars. I mean, when you're that big and you can move like that, colleges are going to pay you attention. And that the opening was McWilliams' breakout because he was able to put a time to the film and the drills that colleges have seen like this. It's great to see Tay go through these drills and show his explosion, his ability to catch the football, but that laser time 40 really I think helps set him apart.
They operate out of the power spread there, and so as a result, they kind of spread the ball around, so the numbers aren't going to wow you. This is a guy who led the team in rushing, 743 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's on just 97 carries. I mean, he averaged 7.5 yards a carry for a team that had 5 guys go over 100 yards rushing on the season. This guy, you imagine this is an offense that's not necessarily predicated on a superstar, but it sure seems like Lamar Consolidated has a kid that can be the bell cow if they so needed to.
Well, it's nice to see him being able to catch the rock too. Yeah. I mean, at his size, that's something that not a lot of bigger framed running backs necessarily are great at, and Tay can catch the rock.
Yeah, that's an important thing, especially when you're talking about the kind of places that he's getting offers from. Yep. As we mentioned, getting offers from Baylor, getting offers from Houston, Texas Tech. They want to get the ball out to their backs in space, and so it's interesting to see. Going to keep an eye on Lamar Consolidated running back Tay McWilliams.
Does it not change your offense a little bit to have a guy that you can keep on third down? It's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and you have a guy that can actually bust it up the middle to pick up that first down, or you might slide him out into the flats and get him the football in the passing game. That's good versatility to have, and I think offers will continue to come in as a result.
No, you're exactly right, and this is a guy who, having that, I think that's become more, not trendy, because that kind of gives it a negative vibe to it, but I'll say that I think that's something that coaches are starting to look at more, is that the days of just being a 2-down back and being a guy that's got to come off the field 3rd down, if you can use a scholarship on a kid who can stay on the field for all 3 downs, that's going to be preferable.
Saves a scholarship maybe
Absolutely.
too.
Finally, let's talk about our underclassmen of the week, going way out east, to about as east as you can go, Texarkana to Pleasant Grove. 2021 defensive tackle Marcus Burris, 6'4", 285 for a kid who just finished his sophomore season. Picks up an offer from I guess probably the most local FBS school in Arkansas, and this is the first offer for him. You imagine this is not going to be the last for Marcus Burris.
No, and there were a lot of people buzzing about him at the state championship game. Of course, their excellent defensive end, Landon Jackson, was not able to play in that game, so a lot of the attention fell on Marcus Burris as media and recruiting media was in attendance for that game. And I really like his size and explosion combination. I do think that he grows into a true interior guy as he transitions forward into college, but plays a little bit on the edge right now and showcases some speed for a big fella.
Yeah, he does. He's got a lot of speed here for Marcus Burris, and a guy who, again, because Landon Jackson, I think, sucks up so much of the oxygen in the room, here's a guy who's kind of standing out as well, 6'5", he's listed here by Coach Gibbs at 6'5", 255.
Yeah, 255.
I mean, this is a big boy, and a guy 75 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 5 sacks last year. This is a guy who's been on the radar again, when sometimes it's nice to just play with another guy who's already getting a lot of attention, because then you
Right.
the guy comes up to see maybe Landon Jackson. They go, oh, hey, well, I'll take you, Marcus Burris, and it seems like he's starting to get noticed as well.
Yeah, and I think offers will continue to come in for him. You know, when your first offer is from the SEC and it's Arkansas, well, here's your sign.
Yes.
Marcus Burris is going to get plenty of attention. He recently took an unofficial visit to Texas for the Junior Day, so he's already firmly on the Longhorns' radar. They know about him, so we'll see what pressure this applies to some of the other schools around the state and in the region to see if they're soon to step up with an offer for Marcus Burris. But keep your eye on that April 15th through April 22nd, that first week of the evaluation period. I think schools that stop through Texarkana, he's one of the best players in that part of the state, so offers are probably going to come in.
Marcus Burris from Pleasant Grove, our underclassman of the week. Finally, what are you working on? What's going on?
We're working on a lot here at Dave Campbell's recently. I think that you'll want to
true.
keep your eye on the website over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be launching some new recruiting features on the site. We're not getting into disclosing all of those just yet, but there are some updates that are coming, and I think that recruits, coaches, and especially recruiting fans are going to be really interested in those changes.
It's going to be exciting. He is Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowers79 and follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1. Powers, let's do it again next week.
Let's do it next week.